Welcome to the Deuce Cast Extra. We are here, of course, to talk about Chapter 6 of the Book of Boba Fett, and then later on, of course, Episode 7 of 1883. We are joined in this for this special occasion of the penultimate episode of Book of Boba Fett from Roth at Wyoming. How's it going, buddy? Standing in for Earl for a little while.
Mm-hmm. just till Earl gets back, and I'll.
No, yeah, we'll keep you on the whole time, buddy. It's okay. Ryfun, how's it going? How has your week been?
I was crushed today.
Crushed.
The Oscar nominations came out, and they snubbed Jared Leto. I mean, come on. Everyone loved Paolo. Everyone loved Paolo. It was the talk of the town.
We don't talk about Paolo.
No, I mean, for me, as my name indicates, I was upset that Nick Cage did not get a nomination. Somehow, Javier Bardem, dude, being the Ricardos.
How did it get 3 nominations? I don't want to insult anyone that likes being the Ricardos, but
what's up? We got a first timer. Jeff, what's up, buddy? I believe that he is an Around the Galaxy and Podcast of the Whills listener.
He is.
Glad that you're hanging out, buddy. We're talking about Book of Boba Fett here in just a minute. Nick, I know you have talked about this episode a lot. You even did a Twitter Spaces thing today, which that was some good conversation. I enjoyed. Ryfun was there. I jumped in and listened for a little while.
For a little bit.
I'm still intimidated by the Twitter Spaces. I don't know why. It's like old dude on the internet hearing a bunch of people talk, and it's a little. Even though I'm on YouTube right now, it doesn't make any sense. But it was cool. There was some really good conversation, interesting conversation on there.
Yeah.
A lot of it sounded like British folk. They must like
quite a few British folk chiming in.
Yeah, they must like the Twitter Spaces. I don't know. It's interesting.
Well,
I'm still not used to it.
I want to apologize to Jeff because Around the Galaxy and streaming Star Wars, those are all very professional shows.
Oh yeah, no, this is not that.
Lower the expectations, my friend.
Yeah. Please lower your expectations mightily. We have no professionalism whatsoever on this.
Sometimes we totally go off the rails. So
most of the time we totally go off the rails. And I don't even really have
makes it so good.
I don't even really have like a format because gosh, this episode was just so mind-blowing that I didn't even want to like come in and try and go through every step of it because my mind was just totally blown. The one comment I will make is when I first viewed it, which I always do the 2 a.m. thing, I'm Central Time, so I always do the 2 a.m. on Tuesday. It's a little bit crazy. This episode definitely did not make me sleepy at all. I was certainly awake for the whole thing, very much so. The voice, Luke's voice, at first I was like a little weird, but as I continued to watch this episode, like second viewing, and I know some of you all have watched it several more times than I have, I was kind of okay with it. Even though we found out later on that it was completely AI, basically. Mark Hamill did not come in and record any new dialogue for the episode, which, man, that set off a firestorm of upset people.
And the funny thing is,
he's still credited as well, though.
It's weird.
If they never said anything, there would be no firestorm on social media, and no one would have noticed or cared.
Well, here's what's interesting. Like, as far as like the types of people I follow the Star Wars people, but then I follow also like the film Twitter people. The film Twitter people are the ones that were sort of like more upset about that than like the Star Wars people. Like, what are we doing? We can't do this. Next thing you know, we're just going to have like a new James Dean movie. That type of thing.
I mean, that's already in production, but that's like a real thing.
Yeah, I know.
Brian, the Respeecher app did the voice, which was the same thing that did the voice in the finale of season 2. Now, I will make the comment that in the finale of season 2, it was distracting as all get out to me. I heard the literal processing in the voice as I was listening to the finale. This week, I really didn't hear it that much. I actually thought it sounded better.
Yes, it sounded human.
Yeah.
It just didn't sound exactly like young Mark Hamill to me.
No.
Which is fine.
Well, that's interesting.
I mean, it's improving.
Yeah.
And hopefully it gets better, and hopefully the facial stuff gets better, which I thought it got a lot better.
How can you get any better?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
the time machine is the only way you can get better.
Yeah, I mean that I was
compared to the end of
blown
Mando
away.
season 2, like it has improved dramatically.
That YouTube hire they made was a very good hire.
Shamook. Yeah.
Shamook, yeah. I mean, and we don't know for sure. I didn't look in the credits to see if he was I don't know the guy's real name. Well, it's not obviously going to say Shamook in there.
I'm sure it's a collaboration between him and the guys who did the initial stuff have probably improved the stuff they're doing, and it's all teamwork on that. But dramatically better. We got long sequences. Now they did a really good job of not having his face on camera too much for dialogue, which I thought was a good move because
very smart. But the facial expressions were just out of this world. I mean, like everything was just really, really top notch to me. To the point where I'm like, okay, I could totally buy them doing a Luke Skywalker limited series. I don't know.
I was just going to bring that up, and I can tell Ryfun has something to say. I wouldn't have initially, like after last season, and I probably even said it one of the nights this season of Boba Fett that we said this. I said we won't see Luke again. That was a fun one-off, unless it's on like a hologram transmission or something like that, because it doesn't hold up, or that one didn't hold up to prolonged everything.
Yeah.
This one certainly does, and I think the first time it occurred to me was when I realized they didn't use Max Lloyd Jones as the body, like it's a completely different body double. And somebody else doing the physical embodiment. And somebody posted a picture of him, I think earlier today on Twitter. And he looks a lot like younger Mark Hamill, and in that, Sebastian Stan window that everybody has been on for so long.
Yeah.
So that's
why he was the X-Wing pilot. They're like, you don't have this job we had for you last season, so you can be.
And so I wonder if that recasting decision isn't a tip of the hat down the road towards more future Luke showing up for something.
I have to say that though I think the technology has advanced, and I think you can do him for prolonged periods, I think a series is tough for me because I still don't think the emoting is fully there. I would want an actor to do that role, and whether I know that's controversial, but whether that's recasting it or whatever, or I'm not in love with Sebastian Stan as Luke, but if they go down that road, whatever, it's better than not having someone there to emote all the expressions you have.
I agree, because even with the improvements in the dialogue and the CGI and all that kind of stuff for this, like a lot of that dialogue still is just not natural enough. And the big thing that stands out to me is when they're walking through the forest and he stops and he says, he talked in riddles. Like it was such a weird, stilted, like something about that exchange, just again, not fully natural, not fully reactionary. In those ways. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
What's up, Doc?
Hey, what's up, guys?
How's it
going?
Going?
Hear me okay?
Yeah,
cool.
Glad that you are able to join earlier than I thought you were going to be able to. So that's good.
Yeah. I would not miss this. I would not miss this.
So just to kind of
what's Roth doing here?
Well, we didn't know how long you were going to be. I was like,
Michael,
we're going
to. You're letting him in.
Sorry to tell you, you've been replaced, Earl.
Yeah, I hate to tell you.
Don't worry about Friday nights. I'm on the Deucecast now too.
Yeah. That's right.
Clear your desk out and turn in your keys.
That's right. The Deuce 5.
The Deuce 5. I like it.
That's right.
No, I'm glad to see Jacob. That's always a good thing.
So. You having some
Are you
stroke in there?
Heat flash.
I'm right under a vent and it is blowing hot air. So
oh no.
Well, that's nothing new on this Deuce cast. Hey,
I'm already blowing enough here, guys. Come on.
So I mean, we could dive into a couple of things, obviously, just because there is certainly a lot to talk about. With Grogu, we knew he was going to. Well, I mean, I figured he was going to make an appearance. I didn't know how. Again, I never knew it was going to be this long. I mean, I think everybody figured it was just going to be, just quick cameos.
I figured he would be there, but I was joking. Yeah. Last week, I dismissively joked that we would see Luke too.
I know. I mean,
Not to leap to the end, but I called that character.
Oh,
you did.
okay.
You did.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The end. Yes.
Maybe that's Luke.
Luke. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, R2D2 was the first obviously big cameo.
Yes.
And yet again, I did not go get my original Kenner. I've got both of them. I've got the one with the telescope, and I've got the one without. I don't know. Is yours with the telescope or without?
I have both. If we really,
I have with the telescope.
Yeah, I've got. I don't know why I have the other. Is the other one? One of them was in the early bird pack, right? Yeah.
Yes, I think the one without was the early bird.
Out. So I've
this
got
one
that.
is without, but it has repro decals on it. This one has the sensor scope and it's fully original. So
I've got the one without the telescope on my decals are totally. It looks rough. But yeah, Android Black Series probably coming soon. Those were pretty cool. Even on the closed captioning, they called them Antdroids. So I thought that was interesting that they didn't come up with
Antdroids
or like ANTSs or something like that. Like call them something. Call them something different. So Grogu is in, and we don't know how much time has passed, or I guess it's hard to tell like how much time has passed between the time that Luke got Grogu and they're on this planet.
It's not been very long, I would say.
It must not be very long because there hasn't been apparently much training that has taken place just yet.
And even Luke says that the training that was going on, he says this is more remembering than me teaching him anything.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and speaking of, who knew that Luke had like a force power to help people remember things?
Yeah.
I mean, that's touched his head.
That's the first time we've seen any Jedi do that, right? I mean,
but that only works for Yoda's species.
It's probably some Rebels thing, Mikey. I wouldn't know about that.
I don't know, Nick. I mean, is there other Jedi that we've seen with that power?
Well, we see the only thing that I think that I compare it to probably most directly is in Jedi Fallen Order. Cal Kestis has the memory deal.
Okay.
Where like he can go to artifacts and things, and he can sense what happened there. So it could be something along those lines.
Could it be something along the lines of like the Force Jedi mind trick type of stuff, where that is also kind of entering into the mind type of thing, where you're maybe unlocking something?
That's even as you're saying that,
that's true.
Depending on how you think and feel about things like hypnosis, repressed memories and the ability for, people to unlock something in a subconscious, like it could certainly be the Force version of that. But the thing that stood out to me thinking about it was Jedi Fallen Order, because Cal Kestis had I forget what it's called, but he could sense memories in objects. So like the first one, they're in the ship and she has the loot or whatever it is, and he touches it and he flashes back to somebody else's memory of that instrument.
Force walking is what Fatmatic calls it.
Is that like light speed skipping? No, but I mean, I mean, Brian does make an interesting point here. On the flip side of things,
I think he's strong in the Force.
That could indicate the strength of Grogu in the Force. I mean, he's having to help that a little bit, I would think. I mean, as far as remembering things. Hey, what's up, Pete? Good to see you, man.
Ahsoka says in the episode The Jedi in Mando Season 2, when she communicates with Grogu and that whole thing, basically because of the trauma that he went through, and we get the flashback of what, we think that's alluding to, basically he shut down and blocked out and forgot all those things that he had known. And and that's a very real world comparison to things. Victims of trauma very often block out or shut down and compartmentalize in a self-defense kind of way. And so I think that rings true for we don't know how powerful it is, but it gums up in all the moments that we see him in the 2 seasons of Mandalorian, when he about chokes out Cara Dune, when he stops the Mudhorn, when he does all these different things. But it's not, there's some psychological healing that has to be addressed and worked on, which was really interesting to me. And I'm sure somebody has seen this on Twitter, and maybe, I don't know if y'all had this thought. I was kind of bothered by Luke just going straight for it and being like, hey, do you want to remember, like, somebody who's dealt with trauma and victims, like, he just kind of like, hey, here we go, and forced that dredging up those memories on him, which clearly took him out for a little. That was hard.
I want you to remember.
Maybe that's the parent in me speaking and going, "Hey, you want to remember something terrible? Here we go." Like,
well, it was interesting because his dialogue made me think, "Oh, we're going to see like his people, like other people of his race."
Yeah, he was trying to go way back.
Yeah. And it could be that was Luke's intention, not knowing that what he was actually going to get was that difficult thing. So that's not to throw full shade at Luke, but it's just one of those. It felt like, does he have a chance to say, yes, I want to, where Luke just kind of went for it?
Now, do we think that Luke also saw the same vision, or
I think so.
Probably, you think so?
Yeah,
I think so. No.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, just because we've never seen something like that before, where
like he could see into his
somebody
memories.
else's vision. Like,
so he was
explaining it to Luke Skywalker. We're talking about here.
Well, I mean, to me,
Luke Skywalker.
This was an interesting Luke Skywalker, though, because even in some of the dialogue that he had with Ahsoka, he kind of was, questioning of her, is he doing the right thing with Grogu? Like he's
still very uncertain.
He's
Grogu's
uncertain.
heart even in it.
Yeah, is Grogu's heart in it? Is he doing the right thing, trying to take him on? And apparently, like in a comic book, Ben is supposedly the first student. So does that indicate that we already know what Grogu is going to choose?
Why
comics and books?
Well, yeah. First off, if the shows want to contradict if the shows want to contradict a comic or a book, I don't care. They can do that. And,
they can. Yeah, no. And Filoni has no problem doing that. Yeah. I'm just saying that's a pretty big contradiction.
The second thing, why would Leia not be his first student?
Yeah.
Because
we see that in Rise of Skywalker. Too.
Rise of Skywalker.
That, I mean, but it's like directly kind of mentioned at the end of Episode 6 as kind of being a thing.
But I wonder if it's possible that at this stage she's still generaling Republican, doing those things. Yeah. And he goes to her on a sabbatical in midst of whatever he's doing. She's like, you know what? I really do want to learn some of this stuff. And that, it could just be an out of order thing. Yeah. I want to tag on to what you were saying though, too, Mikey, just with Luke. Like, this is early Luke. And of course we get it because Ahsoka says, Grogu's going to be his first student. So we get, this is the beginnings of this, but I love so much the uncertainty. I love, I have campaigned greatly since last season when Ahsoka showed up and when Luke showed up. All I wanted was the 5 minutes of Luke telling Ahsoka that Anakin was redeemed. Like, I wanted to see that. And that doesn't mean we might not get it somewhere else. But at this point in the conversation, they've already had that talk.
I was about to say, yeah.
But what I loved about that though was at the same time, when she's gonna leave, there's that like, wait, I just met you, when he says, will I ever see you again? Like, he's still there's a little bit of a young
attachment.
Yeah, just Luke. Yeah, like the attachment. We'll come to that too.
Well, if you've got to think,
but there's a young like Luke still figuring it all out, and he's not as certain as he thinks he is a lot of times, and it shows in some really fun ways that I liked in this episode.
And it's weird to think of Ahsoka as like older and wiser than Luke. Yeah. I just took me a minute to like get my brain around.
Yeah, right. Because we've always seen her as the younger figure.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. I mean, from Luke's perspective, she is the only other Jedi that he knows in existence.
That's right.
I mean, and so for him to have that community, I mean, he's like, I wish you would like just stay and hang out for a little while. Yeah. But then, she's very, very much like got lots on her mind.
And then obviously there becomes the comic book discussion of, why didn't you show up in this big event? Because you were around during this time. That's that happens with comic books all the time. Now,
where are you with the Death Star?
That's the Captain Marvel. There are a lot of other planets, and they don't have you. That kind of thing.
Yeah, and Brian just did a rewatch of the sequel trilogy, and so he's very fresh off of Episode 9. So this is cool to hear him say, or Episode 8. I'm sorry.
Also known as The Last Jedi.
Yeah, Last Jedi. But it's true. Yeah, he was very broken because
one thing that kind of depressed me about this episode. I really like this episode, and I'm not one of those guys who thinks the sequel trilogy should be decanonized currently, but someone should convince me eventually. But I just hate that we already know where Luke goes at this point, I almost want there to be a clean slate for Filoni and Favreau to do something with that character. And I know there's 30 years of story that
got a lot of stories in between.
Yeah, there is. I just wish
Sebastian
we didn't know the
Stan.
I just wish we didn't know the ending to it. That's just what I
I agree because
it just makes me sad.
Yes. And like when Luke brought up the attachment thing, I was like, oh, come on now. Like, you haven't learned this. This is kind of part of the reason why. But I can't remember where I saw it. It was either in some Facebook group or on Twitter about Luke needs to kind of buy into the old Jedi ways for his story to be set up for the sequel trilogy, which I was like,
right.
That's a really good point.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, that was something that I said. I think I must have said it maybe on the Twitter space this afternoon, which is, we get by the end of this, the whole attachments thing, and Ahsoka sets it up talking to Den with the shirt, with the gift. Why are you really here to see him? For him or for you? All that stuff. And then, of course, Luke sets it up at the end with, but you have to make a choice.
Yep.
But I think what feeds into exactly Luke as we find him in Last Jedi and the narrative of the hubris of the Jedi and how the Jedi, what they were, was not working and had to change. Luke is deeply entrenched in all of his attachments, whether it's R2, who's still with him, Leia and Han and the rest of his friends. Luke is, I think you're exactly right. Like, they're setting up in very small ways that feel subtle now what's going to get him to that road 30 years down the road where he goes, this is why I left, because we were wrong. And he was wrong then. And of course we get that with, him admitting the mistakes with Ben and admitting, the other places that he messed up. And so I feel like this is kind of the beginning pieces of that house of cards being built.
I am a little bit bummed that we didn't get an R2E from Ahsoka.
Yeah, that would have been nice. When
he was leading Den through the bamboo forest, he did that R2 hum that he does when he's by himself. That little love it. As an R2 guy,
that was awesome.
It was
just
phenomenal.
my favorite.
I mean, just the cameos in this episode were amazing. I mean, all of it.
And that choice scene now. The choice scene at the end, if we could skip to that and we can go.
Yeah, we're jumping around.
Wow, that's a lot of jumping.
I know.
We're all
light speed skipping around the episode.
Hey, Melissa, good to see you.
Hey, Melissa.
That scene, at least visually, was pulled from a Lone Wolf and Cub, both manga and movie, and I love that call. Back to the story that kind of set up the Mandalorian in the first place, even though it's not the same situation of a scene.
He has to make a choice, right?
Yeah, there is a choice, but
Grogu's choice.
It's not. It's not the exact same type of choice, but I love the callbacks to Lone Wolf and Cub that continue to happen throughout this, and the paying homage to Japanese cinema that's come before Star Wars. I love that it continues. So, we got,
and I think there was even more in that. I mean, the bamboo forest was certainly a part of that. I think that, I don't know if anybody noticed, but Luke's tunic changed. It was more of a karate gi than it was.
It looks.
That's true.
Jedi. It looks different.
He also had on the toe boots when he was running and climbing the tree. He didn't have on his big Gucci boots from Return of the Jedi. Like those little things that I noticed as I watched it multiple times, stood out to me as well as, again, like you said, nods to those deep, inspirations for Lucas with all of Star Wars.
Yeah, and we've gotten the Seven Samurai before as well, so there's still Kurosawa nods throughout this series. I do have to say though, a little bit of another jump. I have to agree with Around the Galaxy. I think he posted a logo, and he's talked about the messaging or the whatever problem with this show. I think this show would have been better served being called The Mandalorian Book of Boba Fett or something like that, because these last two episodes just haven't been Boba Fett, and that's been beaten to death on social media, but they haven't been.
He did make
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, no Boba Fett. This week, Boba Fett, no speaking part.
He nods.
He nods. He gives the nod.
It was a proof of life, Boba Fett. That's all.
That's right. Like Boba Fett, we know he's okay.
He held up a newspaper with a date on it. Like, this is me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting that you say that. Like, I was watching a stream of something that wasn't even Star Wars related, and because it's just life, they got to talking about it. And one of the things, just this guy that's not really a Star Wars guy, basically said the same thing. That the man, I see you, Rhett.
I think there's room for one more.
Yeah,
no,
come
there's
on,
not.
Rhett.
There is not room.
Want to
for one
derail
more.
the episode?
No, he already has. He's already succeeded in doing so.
Michael's making a point, guys.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that it's interesting because even Jen Pop is basically saying that same thing, that they would have loved to have the show have been called something like Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, or just something to indicate
And the guest of Boba Fett.
or something to more clearly explain what's going on.
The first version of that editorial that you're talking about, Ryfun, that Pete did, the first version of it was a logo that was the Book of Boba Fett logo, and just at the top in the font it said The Mandalorian, exactly like you said.
That was what I was talking about.
And then as he fleshed it out more, it became Tales of the New Republic or whatever it was that he put up.
Okay.
Twilight.
Twilight of the New Republic. That's it,
But
yeah, that's just it. You know, it's the umbrella presentation of, hey, here's the thing. And so if you tell them what it is, they expect it to be that, whether that was the intention or not. So I agree with the core of his issue, which is it's a marketing thing.
It's kind of like when, and I'll just say this. I know people love the show and I like it, but the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, when it was being advertised, it was being advertised as a buddy cop show.
Right.
Then we got into it and it was not a buddy cop show, which is fine, but you should advertise it differently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Lucasfilm has never been great at the whole advertising and marketing thing. I mean, they've just Marvel is great at it. Disney proper is great at it, but
I don't know. They're just different. I can't say they haven't been great because I think they had a lot of success with TFA's advertising campaign, and
like Matt says, even something like this. I mean, just something like that would be fine. I mean, and I don't know why they didn't feel like they needed to do that. I mean, it was interesting. So, I mean, I'm sure that we're in this last episode. I'm sure we're going to get a cut scene at the end. I really hope that they spell it out, like what's going on with this cutscene. I mean, it's just so we don't get this same rhetoric for whatever. Because I'm guessing the next show's Obi-Wan.
I hope
theoretically you would think that's the cutscene.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
I hope this entire finale doesn't even resolve what happens this season, and it's just a full episode of Thrawn setting up what's going to eventually happen.
Because
it's just
Thrawn.
It's just a backstory of Thrawn, right?
I want to watch the internet burn. Yes,
it's Thrawn in his office, just like
looking at paintings,
looking at art,
looking at art, doing some karate. Like
chances are blaring in the background.
Yeah,
I've decided it's going to be like the old beginning to Inspector Gadget. It's going to be a chair with a blue hand, and when it turns around, it's just a thermal detonator sitting in the seat, and like it's not really Thrawn there. It's just
a fake hand. It's like
what's really funny about Brian saying this right here. This is an inside joke between like me and my friends, and Brian, I've never said anything like rhetoric spelled this way to Brian ever, and he comes
he knows our inside joke.
He knows about Rhett.
Exactly.
Oh, Matt Mink brings up a good point though. The Rancor is still out there.
Oh yeah,
we got to see Boba Fett riding the Rancor.
He is going.
We've got to see more Danny.
That will happen.
We need
in
Space
this
Machete.
Yeah, I mean, he tweeted out something today that he's going to be. He tweeted some really cryptic thing. Danny Trejo.
Remember when we started talking about like, oh, he's a bad guy, and he'll come back and try to do something evil, and then
never
we
saw
just
that
didn't
story
care about,
again.
We just didn't care about that anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of forgot he was in this show. Not gonna lie.
No, he tweeted out the poster. He tweeted
but then he said something also, like in the tweet
he quote tweeted it. The storm is about to break. Don't miss the finale of Book of Boba Fett streaming tomorrow on Disney.
So what storm's about to break?
I mean,
is this
the
Bounty Hunter War?
Yeah, he's going
to about the Great Spice War of Tatooine.
Don't you remember from Phantom Menace? Storm's coming, Annie.
Is that really? You really think Danny Trejo's going that deep that he's quoting something?
No, the storm's about to break was the caption for the actual Star Wars post of the poster.
Oh, I didn't know
that was their line.
Oh, I thought he tweeted that. I thought it was like, what
that
is
was
he
the
talking
official
about?
Star Wars tagline.
I don't even know.
If I want to see
apparently.
the internet burn more, Rhett's comment. Actually, I don't want de-aged Han Solo. I want aged up Alden Ehrenreich.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Somebody said it on the Twitter space today, and I couldn't agree with it more. I want the bearded Han Solo from Battlefront 2. That's what I want.
Okay, with Jackson. With Jackson. The Leppy.
Well, look, I mean, here's the deal. The technology looked so good with Luke. I don't care if they do it with Han Solo. If it's going to look that good,
that was really
then okay.
Han Solo's really like Luke is a bit more stoic. Han Solo's really expressive. I don't know.
He's more loosey goosey.
I'm like, give it to me. I would love.
I was impressed with I got to admit,
if it's actually Harrison Ford and you're de-aging his face, that may work a bit better than the stuff they're doing with Luke.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
I'm ready for it.
I like
want
aging up Ehrenreich. I think that's a great idea.
I want to see Ehrenreich again.
I love him. He's a great actor.
Popular belief.
He's on the hook for 2 more movies.
I thought he did a great job.
I hope they do bring him back.
He's not Harrison Ford, but he's got his
Nobody
own.
No, Brian. Cobb Vanth is not dead.
All right,
we got shot in the shoulder.
We need to talk about this because before Brian said that, I saw where Fetmatic put Star Wars OK Corral.
Oh, yeah.
If there was anything that I knew for sure I wanted to see this season or in this episode, it was more Cobb Vanth. I was such a fan of Timothy Oliphant, Deadwood, Justified. Like in last season, it was like the gift I didn't know I wanted. The first episode of last season. Yeah. So when this episode as a whole, like we said, 6 cameos. I watch this every week. I think I've talked about it every week. Every week I watch it at 5:30 in the morning with my oldest daughter because she's my Star Wars kid. We sit on the couch. We pipe the audio through my phone. It sits on my chest so we don't wake up the rest of the house. And we watch it on the TV. But like she was in the crook of my arm, and every single time somebody came on the screen, I squeezed her arm. And it started right off the bat with Cobb Vanth, like from the beginning. I was like, Cobb Vanth. And then the R2, the little antenna thing popped up before the camera panned down. I was like, R2, like every single thing.
Yes.
I love Cobb Vanth so much. And partially it is because of how much I love Justified and Deadwood and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Thrilled. And no, he's not dead. He took it in the shoulder.
Yeah.
There were several and we'll get to predictions later, but like, in the very beginning when he talks to Den and he's like, how are you without the armor? More careful. Like, and then he gets shot. And Cad says, you shouldn't have given up your armor. Like, there's a bunch of leadings that he's getting some armor back, whether it's tomorrow or whether it's whatever. Again, we'll come to predictions later, but so thrilled to have Cobb Vanth back. Like, I just love that character, love that actor. It was a treat for me.
Yeah,
maybe more so than Ahsoka showing up, which I didn't expect at all.
I thought really honorable too. At the beginning of the episode, he takes out those guys, he gets the spice, and then instead of like most people and most characters taking the spice and selling it and getting a good bounty off it, he just kicks it and it spreads all over the desert.
Well, he realized he wasn't in a Dune movie, so he had
big year for spice.
Well, but he's letting it flow.
Yeah,
he is letting it. Yeah, it's very, very big year for spice.
But no, and that was such a good, even from a visual standpoint, and there were so many wonderful visuals in this episode, but those moisture evaporators just sitting in the middle of the desert, spinning, like, love it.
Oh, that beginning was awesome. Yeah.
It was a great start to the episode.
I'm pretty sure he took out 2 guys with 1 shot as well. Like, I'm pretty sure he only shot twice.
Yeah, he is that good. I would think.
And I think I think his issue when getting shot with Bane was that he was focused on his dumb deputy.
He was. You could see his eyes. And Bane was looking at him. As soon as I saw him looking over, I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah. I was like, oh, well, he's about to get shot.
Yeah. Yeah. And that deputy's gone.
That's apparently a guy that
he
has
took
worked.
4. He's gone.
Yeah.
That's a stunt guy that's worked a lot with like Rodriguez on some of his stuff. I mean, he's been around. So I mean,
he's the Toro Calican of the Book of Boba Fett.
He's basically the Toro Calican.
Way better than Toro Calican.
Yeah.
Super expendable.
Way better. Much better actor.
Wow. Man.
How do we really feel?
So much shade at Bobby Cannavale's son.
Look, he's a great actor, but his son needs
not so much.
Yeah, no, Matt's right here. I mean, it was very Sergio Leone, that opening scene.
So was the ending scene.
And the ending scene when
exactly.
We haven't even talked about that cameo yet.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
before we get to that, before we come back to the end, can we also got Ahsoka? Like,
yes.
crazily. I mean,
like,
and
again,
she was
one
great.
of my top favorite Star Wars characters, and of all the things that I could have put some guesses on for showing up this week, she wasn't on the list. Like, I was on board for Bane, I was on board for Boba. I mean,
because they could have gotten away with not having her easily.
Right.
I mean,
She's
you've got Luke in an episode.
Luke
That's all you really need.
Why was she there? Does anybody know why?
Yes,
she was
R2 called her.
And then she just
because
shows up and
she
goes,
knew that if Mando were to go find Luke, Grogu would see him. So he's like, let's run some interference here.
He was
That's all
like,
my
don't
old
go
palace
up on the hill. We can't have the...
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, like,
R2 did what he thought was best, which was to call somebody that could stop Mando from going to interrupt Grogu.
I'm going to take him. But, you know, couldn't he just have said hello?
No, it's an attachment, man.
That's a part of the that's a part. Well, it's not just
the
attachment.
attachment
It's the heart into it as well. It's the he sees Den and he just wants to go back with Den. His heart's not fully in being a Jedi yet.
Oh.
And it's the same thing. Like if my kid in preschool left their lunch at home, I go drop my kid's lunch off in the preschool office. I don't go take it to the classroom because they see me and they think it's time to go home.
100%.
You don't let them see you.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
I think
R2
personally,
is a snitch.
I think two things. I think we're not going to see that choice this season. But two, I also think that Grogu's going to choose Mando. I just think it's the logical.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
And then
I think that could feed into Ben still being Luke's first student.
Yes. Yeah. Because Grogu was never officially the first student.
Rhett, you jumped in late. We kind of talked through that a little bit. I mean, it was kind of a situation where Luke is feeling
he's not going to like the answer to this question, Mikey.
Well, I don't care, but it's kind of like he's going back to the old ways. He feels like he needs to go back to the old ways.
But I sent a theory to you after the episode, after I watched it, Mikey, if you remember me sending you that theory.
Can you repeat that theory? I don't recall.
Clearly, he
what you said.
I don't know that I still 100% stand by it, but there was this talk in the episode of is Grogu's heart in it? And I felt like the choice was less of when I was first watching it, I felt like the choice was less of an actual attachment thing and more of a test to see if Grogu was really wanting to become a Jedi Knight. And that could be a failing.
Will he become a Jedi Knight?
I don't think so. Or
I don't think he will.
Maybe he's a Mandalorian Jedi.
I don't think he's going to be the Mandalore, as I've seen several people posit on the internet.
I hope not. In all honesty, I really hope not.
Oh, he'll wield the dark saber.
Dark saber. Yeah, it's too big.
Yeah,
it's too big. Yeah, I mean, he just can't pull that off.
At this point, Yoda's saber is still too.
Rhett seems to think he's choosing the Jedi. I disagree.
I know.
All right, place your bets. Place your bets.
I don't
think so because that also creates a marketing problem for Mando season 3.
Yes,
50% of the people, like my mother, who watch Mandalorian for Baby Yoda.
Yeah,
that's
that is. I know a lot of people.
I miss the Snoke theories
that watch.
Oh yeah,
Mandalorian
Grogu equals Snoke.
That was a fun time in Star Wars fandom.
It was. The Snoke theories was a very fun time. I mean, it was everywhere from it's got to be one of the purple dudes in the robes that to
the Imperial dignitary.
Yeah, it's got yeah. There was all kinds of I can guarantee you nobody thought he was going to be a Strand cast. I don't think anybody.
I would say anyone that thought that he was going to be the Emperor was sort of correct.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
And see, by the time we got that answer,
correct,
everybody forgot we asked the question because they killed him in episode 8. We're like, that was never a question. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
That's way too much time spent talking about Snoke.
Thanks, Matt.
It's part of Star Wars.
I don't want to think about that, Brian.
No, Brian.
Oh, Brian, maybe.
Yaddle's love child.
Rhett, we know.
We've already covered that, Rhett.
Well, before we get to the other big part of this, the other thing that we do have in between is the big fat nothing burger of the gathering the forces scene with, a funny little moment from the mayor's major domo.
Yeah.
The head nod from Boba to Den as Den makes his heroic entrance down the stairs.
It's like
percent rallying.
Well, and it's funny because the description of the episode was Boba learns new information.
Right.
And it's them standing around the hollow map, and it's literally Fennec saying, yeah, all the other guys are going to stay out of it, and this is where the forces are. Like,
yeah.
And then
Exactly.
That's not very new information.
it's not new information considering Boba had a dinner where he said, hey, would you just stay out of it?
Maybe the new information was Den saying, I can get an army.
Yeah, there you go.
Or maybe the new information was Den showing up. He's like, oh, I didn't know you were going to show up right now.
Is that
Hey,
producer Sean?
That's producer Sean. Yeah. That's an old school. I didn't even know Sean knew how to use YouTube, in all honesty. But no.
Oh no, Sean, good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, Sean. Yeah, I mean that whole scene was really strange. It felt shoot in, like
I'm telling you, it was
in.
Boba's proof of life. That's why.
Oh
that
no, we forgot to shoot Boba.
Yeah, I mean, Rhett loves conspiracy theories, and one of his conspiracy theories this week, just within our friend group, was that they actually had to go back in and reshoot scenes because they saw people were so mad about Chapter 5. Like where's Boba? And I was like, "There's no way
They don't have the
that
production time.
Here it is, right here.
No.
He posted it in the chat earlier. He
That's
says,
not
I
how-
say they
that's-
got halfway into filming the series and realized it was terrible. Went to the Mando well. This last episode will be a cobbled together nightmare they tried to save at the last minute.
That's not how TV productions work.
that's what I said. I was like, "There's no way."
Right now, they're editing it. They're editing it as
there's
fast
no
as they
way
can.
that they would have had time to go do something like that.
They're
Based
waiting on
upon-
Matthew Wood's sound mix right now.
Based upon
Well,
a negative reaction that, in all honesty, they don't care if it's negative or positive. People are talking about it. That means people have watched it. They don't care if it's bad.
If all of the dialogue now happens off screen in the last episode, maybe I'll agree.
Okay. Maybe,
like
yeah,
from the back or something.
Yeah,
Somebody
exactly.
holding something over their face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We get Isabel Brown to come in, or Isabel May to come in and do a voiceover for it.
Oh, don't even talk about that. Oh, Rhett, yeah, Rhett's still sticking to it. We'll see. Sorry, Rhett.
So the last big reveal.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
So
I mean,
Spat
walking
it
through
out.
the desert, walking in the desert.
Max Rebo wasn't in the bar.
Yes,
well, I do.
Oh, yeah. That was a good
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
That was a
For
great
sure.
thing. Yeah.
That's right. It's one of those "is he okay" moments. When you still got Max, he's
yes.
okay.
Now, why do we think that they were intent on blowing that bar up? I mean,
Intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I mean,
they want the war to start.
Yeah,
they're ready
I think
for the war
Garza
to start.
Flip had some influence, and once you kill a person like that,
Well, we
And
don't
while
know.
we didn't get
She was
the
under
message.
Boba's protection as well.
I was saying we didn't get tons of Boba Garza, but I think there was enough there that they knew that would incite him in some way. I also am not convinced she's gone. I think there's grounds for,
we didn't see a
she has
body.
the big scar on her
Yeah.
clavicle or whatever.
No
She's a
one's ever
survivor.
really
She's
gone.
She's been through some stuff, and no one's ever really gone.
No one's ever really gone.
I do love the interactions with Den and Cobb Vanth when Den shows up in Freetown.
That was a good scene.
Of course, W. Earl Brown returns as the Weequay bartender, which I also
Seventh
love.
cameo, technically.
Yes, seventh cameo. You're right. And I'm not sure I trust W. Earl Brown's character at this particular moment. Because one, how does Cad Bane know that Cobb Vanth gave up the armor unless he's been watching for a while? There's a moment there. Again, very Timothy Oliphant plays the lawman in such a specific good way, no matter whether it's in the 1800s, the 2000s, or a galaxy long time ago.
Yeah.
So like when he shows up and those interactions and, can I buy you a drink? And just all of it is so great. But when they walk out, when Mando leaves and he's standing there outside about to go back in. And of course, it's always convenient that Den literally has just flown off when the stranger emerges from the desert. Also a fantastic, the title of the episode is a fantastic nod to so many of those old Western stories.
Stranger in the desert,
all that kind of stuff. Several people I saw online said as soon as the wind changed and he turned his head before they cut to the desert, they knew. I didn't know then.
I didn't.
But the literal first split shadow, the literal first glimpse we get, I was like, Cad Bane.
Yes.
It was another one of those squeeze my kid's arm moment, Cad Bane. And we get Cad Bane. We get live action Cad Bane. What did y'all
So crazy. So
yeah.
crazy.
I loved it. I loved it.
I would have never thought in a million years that
I thought he looked awesome.
Yeah,
I did too.
I did too. Yeah.
I loved the look.
Yeah.
I
the
loved
teeth,
everything
the way
about
the
it.
teeth
There
were
was-
shown first. And
There was one thing I didn't love about it, and that was, to me personally, and I'm very new to Cad Bane because I watched Clone Wars last year, but the voice was a different. It was different than the very robotic voice in Clone Wars. But in Bad
same
Batch, it gets
guy.
a little less
Corey
robotic.
It was
now
it was
it's-
less syrupy almost, like you know, in Bad Batch when he shows up with Omega and all that, there's a lot of little lady and some of that kind of stuff, and there was less of that here.
Yes,
he is older. That's a good point.
Yes,
yeah, and you know, and if you imagine, you know,
That's why
the
his face
translation
is
from
dark blue
animation to live action or soap opera to something more dramatic, like you're gonna take it down a little bit, that kind of thing.
He was
I
menacing.
honestly was disappointed we didn't have a toothpick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was one thing.
They'll get one. They'll get one.
That would have been awesome.
I kind of missed his little droid as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I agree
I
with
can't remember
Earl.
what that's called, but
He was very menacing, and I was very surprised to then get on social media and see a bunch of people complaining about him. I was like,
well, those are just.
I had my nitpick
yeah.
with the voice, but people were just like,
the size of the
this has to
hat.
be
was-
size
It's
of
all
the hat
about the
was
brim.
one.
They want the brim bigger.
These
and
people.
his face
I
has to be
just don't-
squished down like the cartoon.
No, his face looked great. It was good.
my brother,
I thought it was all great, and it was Corey Burton that did the voice that did him in the animation, which was fun. But again, I think a lot of it is just the medium that you're in. You approach it in a different way, and I think that makes perfect sense. But I agree with you. I think that's noted cartoon lover.
Yes,
Rhett, yeah,
Red
exactly.
Barnett.
my brother asked me what I thought about the Cad Bane stuff, and I was like, I thought he looked great. He's like, he just looked a little off. I was like, well, yeah, normal, like real humans, a real human played him. Their heads aren't like this long, so they can't be long and skinny like that. And he's just a little lighter of a shade of blue than he is.
It's not bad.
Cartoons are an exaggeration.
Well,
Oh
think
yeah.
about
Fett's got
whether you
Toto
got-
is his droid.
Yeah, Toto 360. But if you think about even like Vader in Rebels does not look like Vader in
His mask is a little
the Vader in
longer.
Rebels is the Macquarie Vader. It's elongated.
Yeah.
The troopers are taller and thinner.
Obi-Wan
that's
doesn't
an
have
animation.
wooden hair like he does in Clone Wars.
The only legitimate criticism I see from cartoon to live action is the Leku on Ahsoka. But that was done for a stunt thing. We know that was done for stunts. Although I was surprised there were no stunts this week. I was surprised they didn't almost just give her longer.
No, they don't need. They need to own what they've done with the character. And
But I also
No
wonder,
changing.
similar to what Fatmatic said, with like one of the things was the kind of blue that Cad Bane was like. Maybe as you get older, as a Togruta, your Leku shrink or draw
out and then they shrink. Just like people
we're all shrinking as we age. It's just a part of the process.
When you hit a certain point, your body starts shutting down.
That's
Fun
right.
fact.
That's right. That's right. It's
Turns
exactly
out.
right. Yeah.
Totally
Like
true.
now, like,
Totally true,
yeah,
Garrison.
exactly. Yeah, Dr. Earl can attest.
Yeah,
to
I
that.
can
He's-
attest to all
he's-
that. I'm
he's-
shrinking right now.
Like what I always like. Why do people's earlobes get longer? That's what I've always wanted.
Doesn't your nose also get a little
Your
bigger?
nose grows.
Your nose and ears don't stop growing.
They
Yeah.
don't stop. Your fingernails keep growing when you're
At
dead.
some point, we all look like Mr. Fredrickson from Up.
That's right. That's right. Oh gosh. What
Speaking of
else did-
cartoons,
what else did we so I mean, as far as Cad Bane is concerned, I mean, we're pretty sure,
He's working for the Pikes.
yes.
or is
Sure.
he working
The
for the
Syndicate.
Huts? Is the Huts the big bad
Well,
here?
He's working for Crimson Dawn for Kira.
I still
I
just
will
don't-
say
Kira's
this.
about to show up.
I don't know if he's working for the Pikes.
Haven't we gotten enough cameos?
No,
No.
No, I know.
it's
Buckle
the
up.
book of setup Fett.
Yeah. Buckle up. You're 4 hours away from at least one, if not more.
We're gonna
More
get
cameos.
a Syndicate
Bosk is going to be
spinoff.
fighting Boba Fett. Dengar's going to be out there fighting as well.
So because all
I
he's
do
saying,
think we'll find out that Bane killed the Tusken tribe. I think that's one of the things that
I
we'll
like
find
that.
out in an emotional, setup triggering for Boba kind of way.
yeah,
So
and there's
then-
going to be so much of that. If they do it right, they're going to give us a callback
Right.
to to the original fights scene that Boba and Cad had. Yes, I'm not putting Rhett's. I'm not putting Rhett's thing in.
I'm sorry. I should have typed that into Google. I was like, what does that do?
But we've got to get a this show's not afraid of flashbacks, so we're going to see a flashback of that. I think like a moment at least of that infamous. I don't know what you call it.
Massacre.
Not interstitial. No, like where they didn't actually fit animatic. So they had that animatic stuff that they put on StarWars.com that you could watch, where Boba and Cad had their first meeting, and Cad
canon, by the way.
Right, but it hasn't really been shown. Did they show that in any of the comic books? I don't.
They showed that animatic at Celebration one year.
Yeah, and it was on StarWars.com.
Yeah, and now it's online.
Yeah. So if that's canon, they'll give us. I think they'll give us some of that, and
give us a
they're going to have
because Boba's already got the dent on his thing, so that can't be the first time they met. Refer to it as a rematch or something, and I'd be cool with that.
Yeah. So I think that Cad is going to get under Boba's skin pretty quick in this episode, and I really hope that this is more a Boba-focused episode.
Yeah,
I really hope Boba is from start to finish in this episode.
No,
the show deserves it. It's called Book of Boba Fett. I mean, come on.
No, when Han Solo shows up,
I genuinely want to see the internet's reaction to a finale that really isn't that Boba Fett focused.
I just, I mean, I don't.
They gotta bring his story around. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
And in all honesty, I kind of hope that a lot of people are saying that there's going to be a second season. I kind of hope there's not.
Yeah, I kind of hope there isn't. Either.
I'm kind of done with. I want them to
have show up in the Mandalorian, as Nick was saying earlier.
Sure. Like have him hang out, and that's fine. I mean, but we don't need a season 2 of this, and I kind of hope that they. The powers that be have kind of like decided based upon some
like Brian
reactions.
said, this is going to close the chapter on the book.
Yes.
Let us hope so.
Really down for that.
Let us hope so.
That book is done.
You think Boba's dying?
I do.
Oh,
really?
Oh, yeah. No, Nick does.
Cad Bane is taking him out?
That would probably enrage a lot of people.
And then Cobb Vanth will get his armor, and we'll have a Cobb Vanth show.
Ooh. And Cobb Vanth will have Slave 1. I'm Fire Spray 1.
Oh, I don't want that. Yeah, I don't.
No, I have other theories.
No, but
I don't know if we're there yet. Starfighter and Boba. Or Din gets the Fire Spray Slave 1 thing.
I've got to put this up because
this is Veneers.
Bo smiles at Cad Bane. The twin sons hit the Veneers, and Bane is blinded if that kills him. Hey, I mean,
if you got them, flaunt them. You know.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. I mean,
let the white shine. It's all that acid from the
the
Sarlacc
pit. Yeah,
Sarlacc. Yeah. Sarlacc.
Of course. I mean, I totally buy it. I totally buy it.
You can buy Sarlacc toothpaste at all the local grocery bodegas.
That's right.
Yeah, it only helps the teeth. It doesn't help the skin.
That's right.
You got to spend a lot of time.
Yeah,
got to spend a lot of time in a back to tank.
Back to tank.
So, do we think that the Tusken Raiders are going to be back in some form in this episode?
No.
You don't want them back.
Because heroic warrior princess has not.
Oh, you mean Kira? You mean Kira? Yeah, okay.
Ralph Boner.
Ralph.
No, wait a minute. No, I got it, guys. Harrison Ford shows up in this next episode, but he's not Han Solo.
He's Mephisto.
He's huge anus.
He's huge. What is happening?
But it's spelled like Hugh, and then you have Janus.
Yeah,
that really makes fans happy when you bring in people like that and do that.
Yeah.
So.
What? And Rhett, I actually had this thought as a joke earlier, but Rhett's hitting it right on the head. What if tomorrow the entire episode is nothing but the Vespa gang?
Yeah.
And then there's
I mean, it's
and
for
they
the
turn into
HasLab
Voltron and connect together.
Dude,
Well, my dad's convinced that
I'd watch
Cobb
that.
Vanth got shot, so now he's going to get turned into a mod to fill in that spot he got
that's
shot.
Oh,
A shotgun for an arm.
It'll be like Winter
that'd be
Soldier.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it'd be like Winter Soldier. That'd be pretty cool. I'd be down for that. No, I mean, gosh, this
So
episode's gonna be so
Vespa
crazy.
Gang series. Is that what we're expecting?
That's right. Vespa
The
Gang of
the
Star
Mod
Wars
Squad.
Yeah,
The streets of Tatooine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tatooine. What does Cobb Vanth say about Mos Eisley? He's like, oh, he said such a good line. All his stuff was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He is
yeah.
so great.
I just love. I want so much more of Timothy Oliphant in Star Wars. I mean,
Same.
that is such a great character. I hope they don't like just end it with this.
I want more of Dave Filoni and Bryce Dallas Howard directing these things, and John Favreau writing. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice. She is going on to bigger and better things. I mean, not that I think she'll probably direct one episode of season 3 of Mando.
She's definitely
but
doing season 3.
She's probably going to do that.
Season 3, and I think she gets a movie at some point.
Oh, I do too.
Throw that out there.
Oh, you mean a Star Wars?
They got to
movie?
fill a hole after Patty Jenkins.
Oh wow.
They'll definitely say she's getting a movie, whether that movie's made.
Right.
But,
that which is happening more often than not with Star Wars, or it could be like a Disney Plus movie or something
Snow
like that.
Dogs 5 or whatever.
Snow Dogs 5.
They should bring
all
her in
right,
to do some Willow stuff.
Snow Dogs 5, where all the S's are just the number 5.
That's right.
So we are almost at an hour, so let's go around. Everybody say their crazy theory for what we're going to see in this last episode.
This is putting me on the spot.
Okay, I'll start with Nick then. Nick,
I'm fully prepared.
Yeah, Nick's fully prepared. Then we'll go around. What theories do we have? Go for it.
One affects the main storyline. The other one is my theory for the after credits.
Okay.
My big main theory is Cad Bane takes out Boba Fett.
Wow.
Cobb Vanth gets the armor back as a result.
Yes.
Okay.
Din ends up with Boba Fett's starship because if you're going to have a kid and be a bounty hunter, you need more space to travel around the galaxy.
That's fair.
Fennec ends up with the Din 1 starfighter because an assassin needs a fast, sleek, quiet ship to get in and out of places. And that creates a through line for Mando season 3 on top of what's clearly going to be a battle for Mandalore, that kind of thing, of them working together to avenge Boba, honor his legacy, deal with Cad Bane and whoever the eventual big bad is going to be revealed. If it's not Boba dying, the alternate version of that is Boba retiring to the desert with his Tusken family, and all those other things still happen. He gives the armor to Cobb Vanth because
he's not Boba Fett anymore. He's not a bounty hunter.
Right, because at the beginning, when Din talks to Cobb Vanth, how have you been since you haven't had the armor? More careful. It's a great line. And then Cobb Vanth gets shot. Cad Bane talks about you shouldn't have given up they're pointing to Cobb Vanth ending up with some armor.
Yeah.
One other wild card for that is if those things don't happen, Boba comes out of Slave 1 with some really cheesy dialogue and goes, I never really did anything with it, but this was in a box under one of the benches, and it's the white prototype armor that is a great part of Star Wars lore.
That'd be awesome.
And that would be great with Cobb Vanth's red scarf and red shirt. Just saying. White prototype armor still on the table.
I like the white prototype armor.
I've never been right about one of these yet. So
I think these are all legit.
I was going to say, I don't even think that's a theory. I think Paul sent him the plot points for the rest of the series.
And then my post-credits wild theory is the post-credit scene, relatively light on dialogue, is the battle between Obi-Wan and Chrysanthemum, where Chrysanthemum gets the scar, which is from the comic book, and it cuts to black. Kenobi series, May 4th, 2022.
Okay.
I
love that.
And now
brown liquid. Dr. Earl, any crazy outlandish theories for the finale?
Well, there's so many different things. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. They're all going to be fighting the Pikes.
Okay.
They're going to be in jeopardy because Cad Bane's defeating all of these. I think the folks that were with Cobb Vanth and the Weequay, they're all going to come help, but they're going to be the ones that get shot a lot. They're all going to be sort of in jeopardy from the Pikes. But then out of the blue comes Grogu, and he starts lifting things up. He starts moving things around. Cad Bane barely gets away. Luke is despondent. He goes off and says, I must recruit another student. And then we see Harrison Ford with a baby.
And then it happens on Tatooine, like the end of Revenge of the Sith.
But at this point, Kylo would be like 5 or 6 years old at this point.
Okay, so he'll be a 5 or 6 year old, but he'll say,
but Han's still carrying him. He's a sentimental attachment. He doesn't want to. He's having a problem letting go.
I'm calling my shot right now. Grogu saves the day.
I feel like I'm listening to Patton Oswalt over here, just going through a filibuster.
Direct monologue.
Now, don't listen. I like Nick's plan a lot better, but no. And I think Boba, they think he's dead, but then at the end we see feet walk up to him, and it's female
warrior princess,
and she takes him
and she cracks a black coconut
and feeds him. Right? She feeds him whatever
that thing's called.
And he says, go make banta babies. Go. Take your banta, make babies.
Oh my gosh. All right, Roth. Anything to follow with that?
I won't do plot points. What I will say is I think Kira shows up. We get at least 3 big bounty hunters from the past.
Jabba size?
No. like Bosk or maybe Dengar,
Embo,
Orlom,
I'm for that.
I think Embo's dead, right? Embo's the only one dead.
Probably.
I think so. Yeah.
I just know Embo as the guy from Mortal Kombat that also throws his hat.
Mm-hmm. But what I'm very excited about this episode, because Cad Bane is back. They are setting this up for a classic type of guy has turned good. His old mentor, when they were both bad, comes back, and they're the ones that now have to fight each other, and who has learned more in their life, and that's who gets to decide who wins.
Oh, interesting.
So very excited for,
because Cad Bane trained Boba Fett, right? Or am I?
Well, I mean, no, it was more
Aura Singh.
It was more Aura Singh that was like.
But there were some moments with young Boba in Clone Wars where they're together and kind of pseudo crewed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Aura Singh was kind of more the one that took Boba under her wings. So, Ryfun, anything?
All right, I've got 100 storyboards over here.
Okay, I like it.
Put them on the projector open screen. On Boba Fett. No, I'm just kidding.
I like it. I like the plan.
I do think actually we open on Boba Fett. I will make that prediction right now.
Okay.
In a bantha tank. I mean, in a box tank.
No, we're done. We said that in the dialogue.
Boba hasn't done anything. He doesn't need to be healed.
That's right. That's right.
He just stood there and nodded, and then stayed in place for 2 days. I think we open up Boba. I think we get a lot more of Boba in this episode. I really do.
Yeah, me too.
We're going to tie up the entire book of Boba Fett. There is going to be this war, of course. I do think Boba and Cad Bane have a rematch. I don't think they're going to kill off Cad Bane, because I think that would be kind of wrong to do in such a quick succession.
I don't think they'll kill Cad Bane.
No. He'll escape. He'll get away.
Yeah. And I think that's an interesting secondary antagonist you can have in this kind of part of the universe.
Oh yeah. And Filoni loves him. So
yeah. I don't think we get anything with Grogu in terms of the choice. I don't think he shows up personally.
Yeah, I think that's
I would love to see Han Solo, and I would love for it to be Alden Ehrenreich. Especially if Kira's going to show up, because
with grease paint makeup on, like he's old, like just
exactly. Age him up,
drawn on frown lines.
Yeah, drawn on.
Don't age him up with CGI. Just do it all with makeup.
All with like practical makeup.
Yeah,
I would love
big
that.
running time. We're gonna hit an hour.
Yeah, I was about to say. This finale needs to be like 2 hours, but it's probably going to be like an hour.
I think it'll be just a hair over an hour.
I'm gonna say credit scenes. I think we get something at least mentioning Thrawn, because I feel like that's a plot point and thread that's going to be a big part of these series coming up, especially the Ahsoka series. But they're all going to tie together, obviously, and maybe my hope is we eventually get a crossover series, kind of like the Defenders. But that's looking too far into the future. I'm sorry. So let me just say that I think we get a Thrawn mention in the credits. So
I don't think we get anything with Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But Nick, I love the idea.
I do too.
And that's it's just one of those. We haven't gotten a trailer. If it's seemingly as close as it is, that's how we first found out about Book of Boba Fett. So with the misguided marketing that we've already talked about, it seems like one way they could do it. And because BK dropping in created such a fervor for people to go figure out who is he and all of that. I mean, but I've yet to be right about any prediction I've ever made about Star Wars. So I feel good.
I hope you're right about all of it because it all sounds awesome.
I know that sounds like a better.
No, yeah, I hope you're right about all of it.
Rhett is saying
Michael, have you said you're?
No, I'm about to.
Okay.
What is he saying about his helmet?
He says Morrison's the worst part of the show.
Oh,
now,
that's
I don't think
true.
Morrison's the worst part of the show. I could comment on what I think is the worst part of the show, but I'll stop. Mikey can say what he needs.
I don't have a worst part of the show, but that was one other little tidbit of my original big theory: is if Morrison is out as Boba, I think there's still an opportunity for Tim to come back as Rex in the Ahsoka show, and possibly be Cody in a flashback in the Obi-Wan show. So I think there's still more stuff for Tamora Morrison to do, but maybe moving away from the weird, stilted Boba Fett character is a way to do that. And somebody, and I don't know who it was, did amazing mock-ups on Twitter that for early on in this series. And there's one of a bearded Tim that looks like Rex, and there's one that looks like Cody, and they're fantastic. And it made me super excited to say, ooh, could we really get that?
Let's see. My theory is that Crimson Dawn is behind everything. They are wanting this war to occur to get the Pikes out of the way. So we'll have female Tusken come and like help Boba Fett with whatever Tuskens she's got, help Boba Fett defeat the Pikes, and then you're seeing at the end of the credits Boba's sitting on the throne. Female Tusken takes her helmet off. It's Kira. She shoots him, takes the throne herself. Boom.
Oh, now that would be hot. That would be
no.
Totally here for that.
Garrison. No,
I just think that the whole thing with the Hutts saying that they don't want any part of this, there's some big bad scare. They're not scared of the Pikes.
So Kira's wearing basically a still suit at the beginning of the show.
And hiding the whole time.
She's hiding. She'll
be much older, right? Won't she be older in this?
She'll be a little older, but
not as old as we think she would be. Because I made the mistake of saying that on another stream one time and then realized
so she started off
10 or 12 years. Like,
so she could still, they don't have to age her up too much.
It's not the 30-year sequel trilogy jump that it was in my head.
When did Solo shoot? Like 2016? I mean, good Lord.
Yeah. No, Matt.
He keeps saying that.
I have not saying that. Thank you, Matt. That is a very funny comment.
So the Crimson, I think it's got to be. This is if they're going to bring the Crimson Dawn in a big way, like they really need to, they need to use this series to do it. They need to, get them. If they're going to want them to be a future like major villain, they really need to use this series to bring the Crimson Dawn.
Is Maul? So. Maul will be back. No,
Maul's dead. Maul's dead. Yeah,
but Kira, the one that was in the comics that several people have thrown out is Shizor.
Shizor.
Canon because of comics.
Yeah,
I don't know who Shizor is.
So I'm with
Dark
you.
Force Rising, not Dark Force Rising.
Shadows
of the Empire.
Yes.
I'm with Nick in the sense that I think Boba's dead as this wraps up, but I want it to be in the cutscene. The very last thing we see is Boba dying, and then boom, end of the series. And Kira taking over the throne of Tatooine, basically.
Fennec Shand would shoot her though.
Just for Matt, I will have Dakota Johnson show up in a Leia outfit, and Jamie Dornan there with her.
Oh dear!
Why are we talking about Dakota Johnson?
Because of Rhett's earlier comment about the Twilight fanfic.
Oh, I didn't even see all that.
Yes.
Whatever.
Oh my.
Oh, this is true. Maul's lower half could be alive.
Just walking around.
That's what Grogu is going to start riding around on, so he can keep up with Luke instead of Luke having to lift him along the path.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up. This has been awesome, guys. This has been a lot.
There's
of fun.
no way the finale lives up to any of this.
There's Boba Fett. That is Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Ryfun, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Please don't. You can find me on Twitter at SCPASH3. You can find me on Letterboxd at Ryfun. I'm starting to watch movies. I'm almost done with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So.
That's right. That's right.
Yep, I got 10 more episodes to go in season 7.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So you've been out in space and everything.
Yeah. Oh, we're in time right now,
Good
baby.
grief.
We're in 1955 with Daniel Souza. Yeah.
That's a good. I like that.
That's,
I like that.
I like that
That's a
episode
good
a lot.
season.
Great
It's not
That was
half
a fun
bad.
season.
Let's see. Roth, you'll be back. Earl, you'll be back. Nick,
Yes, sir.
this was awesome.
Bye.
What do you got going on? Tell the people where they can find you.
Well, if for some godforsaken reason, and I hope it doesn't happen for a couple of reasons, if Han Solo shows up in the finale tomorrow,
Yeah.
Pete and I will most likely be going live, if not for a very brief moment, because of a bet we made with our friend Matt from Enid.
Oh, I
who's
will be
convinced that it's going to happen.
like live at 2 a.m. Like after the
It'll be like daytime, normal
daytime.
people time. I have a lot of work to do tomorrow, so I don't know how it's going to work. But
yeah.
foolishly, we made that bet a while back.
That is a foolish bet. Yeah.
But provided that doesn't happen, you can find me on all the different social medias at Whills Pod, Podcast of the Whills, and then this coming Friday night at 8 p.m. Central, I will be on with my buddy Pete from Around the Galaxy for streaming Star Wars. And we will be talking certainly about this episode. And our guest will be Mitch Dyer. And Mitch Dyer is a story writer who worked on Battlefront 2 and a bunch of other cool stuff. So we're excited to hang out with him and talk about the wrap up of Book of Boba Fett.
Awesome. Well, this has been fantastic. Chat, I really appreciate you guys hanging out. It always makes it much more fun. We are going to take just a short break. Ryfun and Nick, really appreciate you guys hanging out as always. We will certainly be back next Tuesday for Chapter 7. What did we have? I'm off the chat. Oh, thanks.
Nick's got his finder down.
Oh, yeah, he's got. Oh, I know. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back, Roth, Dr. Earl, and myself to talk about 1883. Thanks so much, guys. All right, we're back. We're gonna do this 1883 thing.
Wyoming is in overtime, 6 seconds left. 78-76 Wyoming.
I could have 78, 76. Who are they
Hey,
playing?
you guys get
Utah
started. I
State.
gotta plug in my laptop real quick.
Oh no, okay.
You're good.
I'm redlining on my battery, and I've done.
Oh
this
yeah,
once
plug
before.
that thing in, man.
All right, I'm gonna camera
gonna
off for a
I'm gonna
minute. You
crack-
guys,
I'm gonna
you
crack
guys drink a
Zoa.
little Krakatoa, Zoa, or whatever it is.
What
they
do you
they
got?
mentioned Wyoming today, so I had to pull out my Wyoming beer.
The
Nice
Bronco.
little
I
Saddle
like
Bronc from Blacktooth Brewery. No Zoa, but
that. I'm not going to do a CTY,
Yeah.
but that was a one-time only thing. That was vodka and energy drink is not a good idea. It's just not a good idea.
That's like 19 to 21-year-old thing.
Yeah, my like I thought like my heart was going to jump out of my chest at one point. I was seeing colors. I mean, it was it was it was rough. So okay, so you're already back.
Oh yeah, I just had to run get up.
Oh, okay, so you just had to plug the laptop in.
I just had to go get my cord.
Did they win?
They win.
Oh, dude.
Wait, who did Wyoming beat?
Utah State.
So Wyoming wins, Auburn loses. Sorry, Nick. Rough night. So double overtime or
just single overtime?
Okay, so single overtime. Hey, that's Auburn, but Auburn couldn't pull it out. I feel bad for Auburn.
Wait.
Auburn lost to Arkansas. They lost to Arkansas, Earl. Yeah, in overtime. Sorry, buddy. Sorry to break it to you.
I'm out.
I know. Yeah, you know.
Don't worry, Earl.
They'll be in the dance.
Don't worry.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah, they'll definitely be.
Well, now I'm just gonna have to pull for Wyoming.
That's right.
Since Auburn's out. They'll never.
Roth, first of all, thanks for hanging out for Book of Boba Fett. I know that was sort of sprung upon you.
That was fun.
And I just had no idea when Earl was going to show up, so I had to do something.
I don't get to talk Star Wars very often, and I love Star
Wars. I know you love it.
Number one. So
exactly. So I'm glad you stopped by. So, but let's talk 1883. This was episode 7. Good grief!
Lightning yellow hair.
Lightning
yellow hair.
Or Hoppity Poppy.
Yes, that's pretty good. I have it on good authority.
Wait, what's Hoppity Poppy? Is
that was what?
That's yellow hair in Comanche.
Oh, yeah, I gotcha.
Oh, man, some Auburn shade. Yikes!
Oh, that sounds like it means that sounds like Rhett has caught up on 1883.
I was about to say breaking news. Rhett is fully
totally
caught up.
He could come on the show right now.
1883. No, we're not bringing him
on. What?
But yeah, but then there wouldn't be anybody in the chat. It would be like it would just be like all 4 of us because we're like an hour and 17 in. This is like people are like, good God, how long are these guys going to talk?
Yeah, that's right. We gotta go to work tomorrow.
This episode was directed by Christina Alexander Voros.
She's a good one. She does a good job.
I did not see that Taylor Sheridan got credit, although IMDb still has him listed as co-directing this episode, which according to
they also have Billy Bob Thornton credited in this episode.
Dude, I know this IMDb's drunk all of the time.
Like he was supposed to be in the episode.
Yeah, I mean, which would make no sense based upon where they are. That he would.
That's silly.
Yeah, they do have him as listed as being in this episode, and he is clearly not in the episode.
Unless there was a scene they cut for some reason, but.
Now we have the appearance. The actor Martin Sinsmeyer is Sam. So this is his first appearance. He is the Native American. I have seen him in something. Yes, that's right. He was in Wind River. So this is a Taylor Sheridan guy.
So
he's worked with. He was also in Westworld, Magnificent Seven. I've seen the guy before. He's been in a lot of stuff. I mean, if you look at his filmography, the dude's been in a lot of stuff. So he was good. I liked him. Okay. I mean, he was I'm kind of confused about the Native Americans in 1883. Like they're basically no longer considered savages anymore at this point. They're more like working with settlers and stuff like that.
There's different tribes, right? So
yeah,
this is a tribe that's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be right? Hoppity Poppy? You speak the language,
yeah.
So you can.
You're the history guy.
So Yes. Comanches, typically, from my knowledge before this, I'm not taking this show as what actually happened. I know they're trying to be as real to what happened as they can be.
Except when they want to be, well, anyway.
They also do not want to portray them as savages, even though Comanches were
savage.
Yes, Comanches were savage. They were one of the more savage tribes. They were not as peaceful as maybe like the Blackfoot tribe would have been. So yeah, I didn't love this episode. I liked a lot. I liked a lot of the episode.
It was slower.
Making out while a tornado goes over you is stupid.
That's dumb.
Now
she is only like 17 or something, 16 or so. She's dumb. I mean, she's a dumb girl.
Yeah, she's tasted the fruit of the flesh.
That's right.
So she's like, "Look, I'm about to die. I'm going to kiss this guy. I'm kind of like curious."
That's true.
She is. I don't want to say that she's starting to kind of.
She's the best.
Like, I will not stand for this Man of Steel slander with Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner. No, don't. No, Clark. Dude, I cried during that scene. Kevin Costner is the best.
Yeah, the tornado thing, I don't want to say that she's starting to ruin the show for me. I just don't like when she's doing her dumb things. I like when she's being a cowboy. I think she's good at that. I liked the I liked the race. I thought she was good at that type of stuff. She's even flirting with the guys, but when she gets on top of Sam during the tornado, it just kind of, I don't know.
It was a little much.
Well,
I'm still not sure at this. It bothers me when people do things that don't make sense. Like, they're going to go after these cattle rustlers, and they're like, "Oh, okay, well, we'll bring her with us," which to me just didn't make a lot of sense. Now,
she insisted.
I just feel like it doesn't make sense that Enos and the other guy would hang back.
Enos is dead.
I mean, not Enos, but
he's hanging back a ways.
He's way hanging back. He's way hanging under the ground.
He's under the ground. Yeah.
It was Wade and whatever. What's
the new guy?
Pony Boy, Colton. Whatever his name is.
Colton. Pony Boy? Is this the Outsiders? No. What is his character's name?
Colton.
Colton. Yeah.
Yeah. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me that they would not go, and that Dutton Daddy would have said, no, you stay back. And so that was a little anachronistic, I thought, to have like, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was
it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst ever, but it was just.
No, there were some interesting moments in this episode. I mean, there was a lot of, shoehorning in, Taylor Sheridan shoehorning himself in as Charles Goodnight. Now, is that a real person?
It is.
Okay, there we go. I knew it probably had to have been. With a name like that, historically, that had to have been a real person.
Charles Goodnight was sometimes known as the father of the Texas Panhandle. He was a rancher in the Texas Panhandle.
Okay.
Yeah, he died in 1929.
Interesting.
Buried in Amarillo, Texas. Yeah, I don't know. He was a big rancher and kind of brought it. Yes, down. He didn't bring it down there, but yeah, I don't know.
I do like how Sheridan played him like a little bit different.
Oh yeah, no, he was
because he was more like proper and kind of like a very like upstanding.
And a good accent.
And a very good accent. With him. Yeah,
it was interesting. I guess shoehorned in. What I mean is that like the guide like just shows up out of nowhere.
Complete
nowhere and helps them out. So yeah.
Well, that was cool. Like, because I was like, well, who's that guy? Wait a minute. Is there an extra guy there? I was like confused.
I was like, is that like Wade? I'm like, how did Wade get over there?
That's what I thought.
What is happening? And I agree with Rhett.
We're not putting that up on the.
No, but
people can look back.
I also disagree with Rhett with the comment 2 above. She does not do a good job of being hot. she's snotty all the time. I don't know if that was sarcastic.
I
maybe.
know she does have a
More
lot of snot.
this episode.
Well,
More at the beginning. Yeah.
I think she's hot, even snotty.
She's a snotty hottie.
She's a snotty
hottie.
I stand with Rhett on that one.
The snot's interesting, but whatever. I mean, it's maybe her thing. I don't know. I mean, and a lot of her conversation with Two Feathers, and this guy has seen the world. He's lost a loved one, and he's messing around with this girl. And
Sam.
That's right. Two Feathers is the other guy.
Yep.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Oh, that's David Midfeather. Okay. Mid Thunder. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That guy's been in a lot of stuff too, actually.
Yep.
Even though they don't show him much in the episode. So Sam,
yeah, it's a little unbelievable that he would be that. Maybe, but it's very intriguing to see this girl with this blonde hair just flowing and riding horses, and so I don't know. But you think the father would be Dutton would be a little more protective because he?
I think he's like totally just letting her do whatever she wants to.
He didn't even try to look for her. He didn't even think about looking for her when the tornado came.
He was like, "She'll be fine.
She's going to be okay.
She's going to be okay." He's got a lot of faith in her for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if this was theoretically the first tornado that she has ever been in,
don't post that. No.
If this was theoretically her first tornado, how did he expect her to know to like get the horses laying down? I mean,
I think it was more so he knows that she's with Wade and Colton.
Yeah,
he trusts Wade.
Or the Indian guy, either way.
Yeah,
right.
She's laying underneath an Indian guy somewhere in a ditch, or vice
we did
versa.
Get the stupidest moment of both Yellowstone and 1883 at the beginning of this episode
combined. Oh yes. Wow, okay.
What is that? What is that?
The wonderful narration. She says, "No evidence that the human race ever exists." 2 seconds before, they pan by a shot of a grave of like 5 different like crosses in the ground, a grave. I was like, besides those, maybe put that like
maybe there's people there
a couple minutes beforehand before you have her say that line. But that's a nitpick.
This episode was weaker than I wanted it to be.
Because I like the stuff with Cookie. That was
he's awesome.
The tornado thing was awesome until it wasn't.
Yeah. They could have handled that.
And I do think it's interesting to think about how people handled tornadoes at that time. That's
they really didn't. They kind of just
got
hoped and prayed that they got through it. I mean,
you just laid on the ground and hoped it didn't suck you up into it, right?
Yeah, I mean, and to Brennan's point, I mean, these people now have nothing. And he keeps wanting to turn back. He's like, we've got to turn back. Like every episode, Brennan's like, we've got to turn back. And Thomas is like, no, we're going to keep going. I mean, these people have nothing left. No lives lost, surprisingly, in this tornado, but it took out pretty much everything. We get a really sad scene with Joseph, just the realization that they have lost everything.
They have like 7 or 8 wagons left, I think they said, and they can maybe salvage
26 people or something like that.
Yeah, I thought that they
all
only
the
had
people
2.
made it, right? But
no lives lost, but I thought they only had 2 working wagons.
No, they had like 6 or 7.
Yeah, Thomas said how many wagons, or somebody said
they asked right at
the
end.
And he said 2, and then somebody else said something like, so that brings us like to 9 or something like that.
Good grief.
And so I think that is why Charles Goodnight has showed up.
He's going to help
them out. He's wealthy.
He's the ranch, y'all. I will get you some wagons.
Indubitably.
I will send my Comanche friends to. That's not how he. I don't. That one is.
No, that's close. That's close to what Taylor Sheridan was going for. Is that kind of like almost like Leonardo DiCaprio in that Quentin Tarantino movie where he was the candy loving guy.
Yes.
Very much like he's trying almost too hard to have a proper accent.
Yes.
They salvaged 2 from the damaged ones.
And there were a few that were undamaged.
And a few that were undamaged.
And of course,
They still have some. And Cookie, yeah, he was smart.
He was smart. So protect the food. First of all, that's awesome. Cookie, because at first I thought they're going to be mad at him, but they were kind of like, that's probably a good idea. Save the kitchen.
And
I do say so.
I do declare so.
I see, boy. What you got there?
I don't think he yet realizes just how green all of these fellow journeyers are. All these Germans are. Because it's like, I thought you guys would be like right behind me. Like you saw the storm coming. I figured everybody would be like,
oh, you think Cookie was like expecting everyone to just like
interesting.
Get away from the tornado. Yeah.
Because Dutton said, I wish we had or something. Or maybe it was Thomas.
Somebody was like, we should have
either Shay or Thomas said that. Yeah, that's right.
So I do love the fact that within the gunfight, they were showing them taking shots, and pretty much all of them. I mean, Dutton had a shot.
Oh yeah, that was great. He's just like
Brennan had a shot. Yeah.
Where's that blood coming from?
Where did the bullet go through?
I think
he had another hole in the back of his hat.
I think it just like grazed the top of his head.
Skimmed the top of his head.
That's what I figured too, and I was like, they didn't quite make it like high enough where it would like maybe like not even hit your brain and go all the way through. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. I think it just skimmed off. Yeah, those bullets aren't very accurate back then. So
Thomas didn't take a shot. No, he didn't.
No, he got shot in the buttock. No,
he got shot twice.
He got shot in the leg. Yeah,
he got shot in the leg twice. Like once in the boot. Or no, I can't remember where he got shot. But
no, leg. Sure it was leg and the side because I was keeping track.
Yeah. He was like, it's just a flesh wound. And then
didn't he get side shot or was that Dutton?
No, that was Dutton.
Dutton got the butt
because they squeezed that bullet out.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm really fascinated with the way that they do these gunfights because this is like the second time where you sort of just see them not hesitating to just run towards these people and just have a gunfight with them out in the middle of nowhere.
I do like
really close to each other. I mean, they're like within 2 feet.
Well, they're not accurate guns. I mean,
no, they just keep missing, which I think is probably quite accurate.
Yes. But I will say that the heroes like knock the guys off but they're soldiers too. So that's I'm like, I think Thomas was a sharpshooter in the war, is my understanding.
Dr. Earl, is this accurate?
And
if they'd really been shot like that, the next 2 episodes they will have fever and pus.
That's the name of the next episode, Fever and Pus.
Oh, Fever and Pus is the chapter, or episode 8 is Fever and Pus.
Episode 8, Book of Boba Fett, Fever and Pus.
Fever and Pus.
No, I mean, as long as they get some, hydrogen peroxide.
Well, that one bullet, you got the bullet out. It was very
whiskey.
Surface level. Yeah, just pour some alcohol on it and move on.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got to imagine
would be like running into a tree and hitting like it. Yeah,
all 3 of these dudes have probably been shot before in the Civil War. I mean, all 3 of these guys have been through.
Yeah, they didn't seem real phased.
They really didn't seem real phased by it. They were just like, oh, this is, how's it look?
They haven't even reached the Oregon Trail yet, Garrison.
No, they haven't even gotten there. Now there was a lot of interesting conversation in the episode about diverting to Colorado.
Yeah, that was interesting. The Indian,
and they said in the Dakotas and Wyoming, they are still fighting a war.
Yeah,
you think they're gonna? You think?
Disagree.
Okay, no. Wait a minute.
Custer? Are we talking Custer? Who's
right.
fighting what war?
Does he mean like the Native Americans and the American
tribes are fighting each other?
I don't know. So I looked up some timelines of Wyoming. In 1883, electric lights were introduced in Cheyenne. The next thing, Cheyenne Massacre at Rock Springs in 1885. But that is not about. That is
electric lights.
That was like Asian Chinese people that rioted, and then the law enforcement.
The railroad people
killed everybody. Yeah. So that was not Indian related.
So it's more developed than we think right now.
From 1878 to 1882, there were isolated incidents, and in 1903 was the last Indian battle. So,
well, so maybe he's
Wow.
just
Okay.
generally speaking that in
Yeah.
his mind, not that he's there, but he's maybe just heard through word of mouth that there's still Indian battles going on, and so he's trying to convince them they need to divert to Colorado, basically.
Yeah, who went?
And
Who
stay
went?
there.
And who was it who holed up in the Black Hills of the Dakotas? Was that Comanche or Running Bull, or I don't know. I'm having a vague. Sitting Bull. I don't know. There's some Indian that went and tried to escape the government.
Lakota. The Lakotas are in the Dakotas.
Oh, well, there you go.
I don't know.
I might be.
So, anyways, I mean, if we are to believe what Sam is saying, that he's trying to get them to stay out of that part of the country, because he's smitten. He's pretty smitten with Elsa. He wants to protect his squaw. At this point, is basically
which she's going to end up with him at some point.
I think so. I think that I mean, every time he said he was leaving, he never really left. He was just hanging around in the periphery and ends up helping in 3 different ways, basically.
Remember at the beginning of the show, she gets shot with an arrow.
At the very beginning, like episode 1.
She's shooting a guy, and I think he's going to come rescue her. My original thought was some Indian, they were going to take her off to a tribe and she was going to go native, but
that happened in a lot of Westerns.
Right.
Wasn't Natalie Wood's character?
We're sorry, Rhett. I didn't use the proper term. I said Indian. These were Native Americans.
No, I think we can use the term Indian because that's how the show refers to them.
This is true.
So
we're speaking in regards to the show, Rhett.
They walked across the Bering Strait and into down from Alaska.
Become offensive. Not in the. We're talking about
not
the
in this
show.
Chat.
This is we're talking about the show.
PC police all over us.
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous.
Don't make us
so yes. In fact, I think that is what Red is referring to. Was in Yellowstone, and I think that's actually when Dutton died. That's like actually when James Dillard Dutton dies. I mean, we're seeing that moment
because he has another son in that one. That's
where that Spencer kid is, and I do not get where the Spencer kid comes from. I'm very confused because
we'll find out. Season 7 of 1883, which will be 1885 by then. Well,
yeah, but it's just like based upon the age of Margaret, I do not think that she can have another child. I mean, it just seems to me that this Spencer kid has to. I'm still going to stick that Spencer is Elsa's child.
Okay.
I'm still going to stick with that theory. Now, obviously, that's not Enos and Elsa's child, but I'm going to stick to that theory that Spencer is Elsa's child. And that would be really intriguing if it was Elsa and Sam's child, because then there's some Indian blood in
and then
Dutton.
John has a right. John Dutton III has a right to all those lands, and Rainwater can just piss
boom.
Right off.
I don't know.
He can take over the whole Oklahoma territory.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
I don't know if I can buy into Sam and Elsa ending up together, just because we're to believe that opening scene is sometime in the future, right? Like they've made it at least past Kansas. They're somewhere on the Oregon Trail. So does that mean Sam is following them the entire way?
I think at this point, like, even though Sam is like saying, I'm not going to be around, I think he's smitten with Elsa and wants to protect her.
He's never had a woman kid. I mean, listen, he's like, this is my shot, you know. Her dad's not saying anything.
Oh.
Faith Hill is 54.
What are you looking at?
Life.
Oh man, episode 8 already has a title on IMDb. Ooh. The Weep of Surrender. Yikes. That's
is
ominous.
This the last episode?
No, there's 10 episodes. There's 10 episodes. Okay. That sounds ominous. The Weep of Surrender. Good grief. Elsa makes a big decision. Shay faces doubts as winter looms. Ugh.
It's winter.
I know. I know they're jumping. Again,
jump in time.
This is IMDb, and so I don't know where they got that description. They obviously got that description from somewhere, though. Like that has to have been.
So I guess he's trying to decide should he go to Colorado.
So I wonder if they are going to they diverted to Colorado then, and took Sam's advice.
Yeah,
and so the winter, yeah.
Wouldn't you have to go over the Rockies though to get to Oregon?
Yes, absolutely.
I think
Sam's
we really
to stay in Colorado.
I think we need to hear from Nick. Nick has something he wants to say about 1883. Okay, thanks, Nick. So
they're in Oklahoma right now, right? So they're just below Kansas.
Yeah.
They would pretty much make a diagonal turn to get to Colorado. Right. And if they did end up wanting to go to Oregon from there, the only logical way
Wyoming.
to go would be still the South Passage. So they'd still have to go straight north from like the Denver area.
They have to,
and then come back down and then back up, kind of is how it works.
Do the mountains get less as you get more north? Like
kind of. There's like
there's a gap. I'm sure
there's a gap where you kind of go up by Casper, go by Hell's Half Acre, and then you kind of come back down and you go then you drop into Salt Lake and you go through like Evanston, kind of
Salt Lake.
South of Jackson. So it's really kind of a route that kind of goes back down like that, and then they have to go back up.
You go through Donner Pass.
No, you don't want to go through Donner Pass.
Donner Pass is to California.
Okay. No, you don't want anything to do with the Donners. That's not a good idea. I mean, according to IMDb, episode 10 is called Hell's Half Acre.
So they are heading. Okay,
and so I think that maybe they are doing this Colorado and then back around route in a way.
Well, the Oregon Trail also, even if they just go north up to the Oregon Trail, that also goes by Hell's Half Acre, kind of.
You'll have to cut across that.
Pass.
Yeah. Even if you go through Kansas,
speak a little bit. They would start going north before Salt Lake City, because if they were to go to Salt Lake City, they would be following the Mormon Trail. The Oregon Trail kind of goes up north before
it's got to be north. Yeah,
goes through Boise, kind of through like Fort Bridger and whatnot. Right, only twice on like episode 2 or 3 when we pulled out a map, and
we had an actual
we did look at it.
We had a map. That was fun times. Because we were trying to figure out like
we're planning on tracing the trail.
This show's really strange with like it seems like they're moving so slow, and I'm like,
all right, here's what we got to do. We got to build a covered wagon. Me and Michael will start out from Alabama.
We've got to mirror this.
We'll pick up Roth in Wyoming.
For the rate of this show, I'll be waiting here for a little while.
Well, obviously they're taking it so slow that if they do multiple seasons, they could still call it 1883. I mean, they're not going to jump forward a year or two. They're just going to continue to call it 1883 in perpetuity, because they're
even if it's like 2000s and they're
each episode is like a mile. They've got a mile per episode, so they're not making very good progress.
And then Shay's just like, I don't know if they're ready for it.
Shay wants to turn back every episode. Every episode, Shay's like, we're done. We've got to turn back. And Thomas is like, what are you talking about? We've already made it this far. And Thomas is the only, and then Thomas had to talk his gypsy down. She was upset. She was ready to give up too. And he had to kind of talk her down.
He said, let's do it before the sun falls.
I know, right? I'm here to protect you, basically. Which Thomas is still probably my favorite character.
I love. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
I mean the LaMonica Garrett is just so fantastic in this show, and I'm glad that he's the voice of reason of the show, basically, because Shay is an emotional wreck. I've come to, and he makes me an emotional wreck. Like every time I see him on screen, I'm like, this dude has seen so many bad things in his life, and he is. It's uncertain. Well, I guess we know why he's even doing the trip, because he wants
to get to the ocean.
He wants to see the ocean, and then I'm sure we'll probably see a very dramatic scene.
Keep walking until he drowns out in the ocean.
Or jumps off one of those Oregon cliffs. That, like,
I missed this. The ravine, the Dutton ravine.
He's going to take the train.
Yeah, he's going to take the train.
Going to the train station. We find out that Elsa cannot sleep when it's cloudy out.
Oh my gosh. I'm so 50-50 on her character.
There's clouds out.
Like
I need the stars that rhyme.
The problem is I really like Isabel May, but this character makes it really hard to.
I like her acting, but I think
it's
the narrations that are just a little bit over the top. I think, but
yeah. Oh, that's right. This is Sam Elliott's best performance as Sam Elliott. It's a good line.
Hey man, I'll take it.
I'll take it 100%. If he doesn't get an Emmy from this at some point, it would be a travesty. There's no justice. Yeah, I mean, with Isabel May, like you said, Earl, she's a great actress, but this particular character is somewhat annoying sometimes.
She's a feisty, young, dumb daughter.
Yeah, she's just, she's experiencing all of this type of stuff that she's never experienced, but then the narration, and it's just like, why do we have to? Yeah, she was the star of Run, Hide, Fight. Yeah.
Speaking of, the next movie comes out 2 days.
That's right. Yeah, Shut In comes out Thursday, I believe.
But now she was in the movie called Run, Hide.
Well, there was a movie. If you're a Daily Wire subscriber, you can see this movie called Run, Hide, Fight. And then, yeah, it is. I mean, it is. We hate to say it. I mean, but it's kind of true. Now, maybe she's got a dialect coach that's making her do that, but I don't know.
They need a new dialect coach.
They need a new dialect coach because they're supposed to be from Tennessee, and I've never heard anyone from Tennessee.
She needs to listen more to like how Tim McGraw talks.
Well, exactly, because Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, they're not putting on any accent at all.
They're using their normal voice.
And they're doing their normal voices, which is totally unfair. Because, I mean, I guess Isabel May, if she did her normal voice, it might sound like she's from the Valley or something. I don't know. Yeah, because she was born and raised in California. Totally, we're on the range. But yeah, I mean, maybe it's like too much. But she wasn't. In Run, Hide, Fight, she was fine. Like she could have just. I mean, just use the accent. She doesn't have to have this really thick accent because she's the only character that does in the whole series. And it's just a weird choice. Like, that's the one thing I don't understand.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, she's so poetic in like these. I mean, the things are so poetic. You think there would be scenes of her writing, like she's
that would have been better.
But you don't get the idea that she's intellectual at all. She's just like this sort of untamed Beth-like character that's just out there to I'm going to be wild and experience everything out here in the stars.
I mean, and again, that's totally fine. And if they had done all of that without the thick accent, I think maybe that would have worked better. Love the show. Not saying anything bad about the show necessarily, but if they just oh yeah, David Morse in The Green Mile is bad. Oh man, that is bad. I remember that now. That is real bad. Yeah, I mean, and to Garrison's point, they can't do Southern accents and all.
Except for Daniel Craig.
Except for Daniel Craig,
he does do it pretty good. Yeah. Now it's an old.
I mean, it's
an old world.
An entertaining one.
It's entertaining. Yeah, specifically very much entertaining.
That's a low country. That's a highbrow Mississippi accent. Because I have heard people
Margaret
talk
kills a guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's out riding, and she just because she
takes that
Elsa,
over a horse, which is not true.
That's not true necessarily. He was going to kill her.
Yes.
It wasn't over a horse.
No.
I mean, she could have. I was confused by that because I thought we were given the impression.
Thanks for bringing that up. I forgot
that she's been in that situation before, but I guess maybe not.
And she thought the horse was lightning, I guess, too. And
Oh no, I didn't get that.
Because
I
when she first sees it, she's like, Elsa, and then starts running up to, like, riding up fast to it, and then she's like, oh, that's a guy. I'm like, yeah,
that's a dude.
And he pulls a gun on her, so she takes that shotgun and just.
Well, yeah, because we see her when they circle the wagons in 2 episodes ago. She seemed fine shooting at people, so I didn't understand like this. Her taking it so hard that she killed somebody before he killed her.
Like it was a good line that John Senior's their only chance to heaven now. That was a good line, but it didn't really make sense as to the action that she did. Like, it wasn't like she killed somebody in cold blood.
I might have missed that line. Who said that?
It was at the very end. It was
talking about their son is their only way to heaven.
Yeah, Elsa said it in her narration at the end. Which I don't blame you for missing it. I also
don't get me started on the theology of the show or the lack thereof. That's not for this podcast.
No. Taylor Sheridan doesn't know anything about anything like that.
It was right before that whole. There is no heaven. There is no hell.
There is no heaven.
Earth.
Yeah, he's no. Yeah, you can certainly garner from Taylor Sheridan's writing what his thoughts are. About,
no. I'm very aware.
But doesn't mean he's not a good writer. But
it just makes it hard when you're writing people of faith. That makes it hard to write them if you don't get it.
Yeah, if you don't get it. Yeah, exactly. He pretty much has stayed away from that except for that dumb sister-in-law. Or it was his actual sister.
That's his perspective though, a little
That's
bit.
His perspective.
But again, she had a bad situation where
like 9 kids dead.
I haven't seen it yet. I
think I'm going to try to go tomorrow.
Is there theology in Moonfall?
Dude, it's so stupid. It's such a stupid movie. But it's fun. It's just stupid. But...
Oh my gosh.
Well, it looks like you got some work cut out for you.
I'm gonna have to counsel Rhett very much.
Yeah, you are. You're gonna have to counsel
Elsa is just like destroying our faith. Because it's so convincing.
Well, I like your thought that they really should have had her writing in like a journal or something.
I do too.
I think that would have been more believable. Like Earl, where you were saying that, like, have her writing in a journal. I think it would have made more sense because the narration otherwise doesn't make much sense because it's real time narration. It's not like she's narrating. It's not like we see her in the future narrating the past. It's really strange. It's a strange
That's what I don't really understand.
Way to do.
Like, yeah.
And Taylor Sheridan has a love of Westerns, and I don't really recall many Westerns that do that.
Just even one scene where she's like, "Oh, I'm going to be."
I totally agree. First of all, I totally agree with Quinn.
Sister 19 LOL on online.
Totally. I totally agree.
He's got it. Quinn's got it.
Totally agree that. Sorry, bye Quinn. But so there's not a Western that I could think of, and I've watched a lot of Westerns last year that had that whole like narration like that. And so it's an odd choice. Is there one you can think of?
Oh, you need to watch Days of Heaven by the master Terrence Malick.
That's not
it has narration.
Western though.
It's set in the West.
It's not.
It's a Western. Yeah,
I wouldn't call Days of Heaven a Western. Well, that's more like a caper. Are you talking about the one with Sissy Spacek?
No. That's Badlands. I'm
talking
about
Badlands.
The one with Richard Gere.
I haven't seen Days of Heaven.
Sam Shepard. You have not seen that, Michael. We have a moment for you. But there's a sister that does the narration. This lady.
Wait, what is this? Wait, what is Jodie Comer in Book of Boba Fett tomorrow?
She played Palpatine's son's wife, right?
Yeah. Wait, why is she in Book of Boba Fett tomorrow?
I don't know what this is about. But
who says no? What?
I think I do. But I like Jodie Comer, so maybe I don't.
Oh, he's asking if we say no. I don't. I'd need to understand.
I'd be down with it. They're filming it right now, so maybe she
according to Rhett, they're filming the episode right now in preparation for the release.
I'll give him a call real quick and give him that idea.
I say yes.
In the Book of Boba Fett tomorrow. Interesting.
Okay.
He's just floating it. He's just thinking, like, what could it happen? I mean, we've got. Why don't we go for 12 cameos in this one?
My internet's crap.
Michael's about to go down.
Yeah, my internet just all of a sudden crapped out.
I think we're done
I can
talking.
still hear you well, but yes,
You can still hear. Okay, the picture. Okay, I'll just like.
Cookie gets a spanking.
I'll just do this. That's how bad my internet is right now. Oh yeah, Cookie gets slapped. That was a good scene.
Oh yeah,
because he was using the F-bomb. And that's not what we wanted to do.
It is a hard word to drop.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And the German didn't understand that. Now,
that was
first of all, I do not believe that one bit. That word originated in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
And so I don't believe one bit.
I have
what the heck?
I am part German, and I have a lot of family that's German, obviously. So yes, I also do not believe it. They also know what that word means.
So it's a bunch of garbage. All right, so we're almost at 2 hours, and my internet. Okay, it's getting a little better, but not much. But yeah, I can definitely see that it is. No, it's not good. I'm about to.
Michael, you're all pixelated.
Yeah, my internet is about to. Yeah, I came from Austria.
It came from Austria, is my guess.
I think Ryfun comes from off the name.
No, he's backing us up.
The F word came from Austria.
Yeah,
which is very close to Germany.
Well, it's close to Germany.
On whatever we're saying. All right, fair enough.
All
right, we're close to 2 hours.
Way you need to think.
I think we gave this episode as much as we possibly could, because really, I mean, it was kind of a down episode compared to the other ones.
What was it called? Sister Golden Hair or
Lightning Yellow Hair?
No, that's what I meant. Lightning Yellow.
Oh man, if I was good at this, I would have Sister Golden Hair like ready to play right when. But I don't know how to use this at all. I'm a horrible producer. I need somebody to like be able to just pull that up real quick. So as soon as you call that. But I'm horrible at this.
Is Ryfun Austrian?
I barely.
Is he a Von Trapp family singer?
That makes sense. They do that spaghetti on mashed potatoes thing. And now it's all, I'm figuring it all out now. The spaghetti on the mashed potatoes.
Garrison, good day, matey.
Put another shrimp on the Barbie.
You got some shrimp on the Barbie?
Oh, sorry. Austria. My bad.
Austria.
What a great opening scene. And he rolls the window up. And
Love it.
Why couldn't have Dumb and Dumber 2 been good? I wanted that to be so. That was so freaking disappointing. I was like, how can we? That's just, I don't know. Oh, man.
You up.
All right, we need to finish up.
Yeah,
Roth, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Letterboxd at Roth from Wyoming. I also have a podcast, The Good Day for a Movie podcast. We
dude, that episode was brutal.
An episode on The House.
Why did you? I don't know why you watched that movie.
It was not a good movie. I do not recommend it. It was just dumb. It was bad. But sometimes
even Nick thinks House is bad. How bad is it?
Yeah,
that bad. He's not even really there.
I don't know what our next episode is going to be, but
so how do you guys do it as far as picking? Like, whose turn is it to pick now?
Sages. So we just it goes
Sages.
Yes, Dave. We were trying to wrap up. It goes me, Sage, Tate, and then guess.
So Sage's turn.
Sage, Tate. So
Sage.
All right. And now that the Oscar nominations have came out, hopefully we will have our Oscars expert back on the program. And
I'm available whenever you want me to come on. I'll talk Oscars all night long.
I believe it was 13 or 10 or 11 movies. I think
Dave's in the house
that I have to watch, and I will have seen every Oscar nominated movie except for the shorts. So I'm pretty happy with the work that I did pre-nomination announcement. But yeah, so that's where you can find me. The next episode comes out on Monday, and I don't know what it is yet.
Well, I look forward to finding out. Dr. Earl, you are off the grid. as always.
Well, sometimes
But you're in
Discord.
you're sometimes in the Discord.
Oh my gosh.
You get to say it.
Dr. Earl, I watched The Seventh Seal.
Oh yeah.
Oh, did y'all talk about it yet, or you just
No.
watched it? Oh man,
I gave it like a 91.
it's
I
good,
loved
isn't it? It's legit. Yeah,
What?
surprisingly good.
Like the James Bond girl?
Wait, what?
I wouldn't even want to see that.
I like The Seventh Seal a lot, but I meant to put that in the pretentious corner.
Oh yeah, that
man,
should have.
go.
You need to go put something in the pretentious corner about the
that
Seventh
will
Seal.
that will warm the.
Yep.
What do they call them? The cuckles of your heart.
The cuckolds of your heart.
Something.
That sounds
I
like
don't know.
something Elsa would say.
I'm a hot
It
cuckold.
warmed the cuckles of when I met Sam and we kissed during the tornado. It warmed the cuckles of my heart. It even
I felt
made me
his
want
heart beating against mine as we laid in the
even-
storm.
Sam even told me. Sam even told me about shaving my armpits, and I did not know. All right. Good God.
Oh, wow. Where's this
Check us
going?
out. We'll be back next week to talk about episode 8 of 1883. The chat was fun as always. As always with YouTube, eventually David will be on this show talking about something with us because we need that David Dollar bump so we can get more subscribers. We're up to 61 subscribers now.
What?
One step closer to 100 so we
Mash
can at least
that bell.
mash the
Subscribe.
bell.
Ring the bell, mash the
ring,
subscribe
ring
button.
it.
That's it. Sorry.
Hit
And
subscribe.
like this video.
Turn like the video is important with
Mhm.
Twitter. The algorithm, as Steele Saunders says, respect the algorithm.
Mhm.
You must
Like
respect,
it or not, learn to love it.
learn to love the algorithm.
Woo!
Every Wednesday, the Deucecast Movie Show. We have a really. Should I break the news? Should I? I'm gonna, since there's only like 5 people
Tease.
watching.
Tease.
The tease is
Just make it-
somebody in the chat besides Dave is on the episode.
This
I will say, I mean,
That's all we're gonna say.
we
That's
had a
all it is.
tornado
Mhm,
in this
mhm.
episode of 1883. There may be another disaster
No, dude, it's
in the episode of the
It's
Deucecast
good.
that's
I
dropping
can't
tomorrow.
wait. I might stay up just for that. I'll watch the
Just
next
watch.
episode of Book of Boba Fett and stay up for the release of the Deucecast movie show.
So,
it's
anyways,
it's tornadic.
Oh, I
it's
can't wait.
tornadic.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
exactly.
Is that a
I
term?
love
I
the
don't know.
hurricane.
That's right. That's right. All right, guys.
Somebody's reading it.
Thanks again, and we will certainly be back next week. This was a lot of fun, and talk to you guys later. What the heck am I hate this stupid thing.